All right, so today we are talking about writing exponential equations. So this is going to seem very similar to what Mrs. Palkey talked about last time with expanding and condensing exponential equations, or exponents, I should say. So we're just going to review real quick the base and the exponent. So if I had 3 to the second power, my base would be the 3, and then my exponent would be the 2. And what that is saying is my base is multiplied by itself twice. So 3 times 3, which would be 9. All right, so base is our big number. It's what's being multiplied by itself over and over and over. And our exponent is how many times. So the exponent is 2 times. If the exponent was, let's just say it was x to the 5th, it would be x times x times x times x times x. 5 x's. All right? So we're writing expressions using these exponents, or writing exponential expressions. So what we have here is we have 2 different bases. So we have all these negative 2's, and then we have all these 3's. I wanted red iPad, figure it out. So what I like to do is I like to just go piece by piece. Negative 2's listed first, so that's what I'm going to deal with first. So I have negative 2, and it's being multiplied 3 times. 1, 2, 3 negative 2's. So negative 2 is to the 3rd power. And now we're still being multiplied. So I'm going to leave this multiplication sign here, but then I'm going to switch over to red, because our second base is 3. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 3's, so I'm going to write 3 to the 4th. And that would be our exponential expression. So we're essentially just condensing each of these individually and leaving them as a multiplication problem. All right? So the second one we have is write negative 9 times 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 4 times 4 times 4 as an expression using exponents. That was a lot to say very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these negative 9's first. So we have negative 9, and it's going to be raised to an exponent. Which exponent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's raised to the 5th power because there's 5 negative 9's being multiplied together. Now our second base, once again, we have 4. So we have 4 to the 1, 2, 3, so to the 3rd power, or 4 cubed. This isn't that bad, is it? So now we have, they're no longer in order, but we still have bases of A's and B's. So we have 2 different bases. Now I'm going to start with A's because A always comes first. Alphabetical order, come on, it's like kindergarten. So A's, I have 1, 2 A's, so we're going to make our exponent 2. And then B's, I have 1, 2, 3, so the exponent is going to be 3. Now, on this one, you can also write it a squared times b to the 3rd, but when we have variables, so when you have a's, b's, x's, y's, any sort of variable, it's assumed that they're being multiplied together if you just shove them together like we did over here. So you don't actually need to write that multiplication sign. You can if you choose to, though. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, so x to the 4th, and then we have 1, 2, 2 y's, so y squared. Not wildly terrible, huh? So a racquetball court has an area of 2 times 4 squared times 5 squared square feet. What is the area of the racquetball court? So now I could write this out, and I could say 2 times 4 times 4, since there's 2 4's, times 5 times 5, since there's 2 5's. And then I could multiply this all together. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 times 5 is 160. 160 times 5 is 800. So we have 800 feet squared. Now you could also type this in your calculator and do it that way, or you could say 2 times, and then in your calculator do 4 to the second power times 5 to the second power, but you would need to do parentheses around these just so it gets the order of operations correctly if you're typing it in your calculator. Evaluate the expression if A equals 3 and B equals 5. All right, cool. So we're just going to have to substitute in our values right now. So A is 3, so I'm left with 3 squared plus B is 5, so I'm going to have 5 to the 4th. So now I could write this out and expand it long ways. So I could say 3 times 3 plus 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And work it out this way, and I would get 9 plus 600, I think. And I would get 609. Now what I would do if I were you, I would say 3 squared in my calculator. So I would plug this into my calculator, and I would write 9. Then I would carry down my plus. Then I would plug 5 to the 4th in my calculator and write 600, and then just add those and kind of skip the expanding step because I think it's easier to use the calculator and we're going to make less mistakes that way. Another one. So we're evaluating x to the 3rd plus y to the 5th. And they say x is 4, so we're going to say 4 to the 3rd plus 2 to the 5th. Now let's practice this one by using our calculators. So in my calculator, I'm going to say 4 to the 3rd power using that caret button, and I'm left with 64 plus 2 to the 5th power, once again using the caret button, and I get 32. And if I add these together, which I can do in my calculator or I can do in my head, I get 96. Woo woo. Yay, math. Cool, cool, cool. Have a great rest of your day. Let us know if you